Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota podcast, soon to be named something else. I don't know what it's going to be named, but we're going to find out soon enough. My name is Mpho and I've got Tim Delace here with me. We're South Africa's number one cricketing podcast. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I'm having some issues elsewhere, but I'm doing all right. Really, I won't go into that. Um,
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm trying to pay for some. I'm trying to pay for something, and my card is telling me I've reached my limit, which is nonsense.
Oh, Tim. Okay. That's an easy way to get in there. Tim's card has reached his limit, which means Tim's got no money. If you can help us and help Tim in buying whatever he wants to buy, you can buy some coffee at buymeacoffee.com/full quote apart. Remember, we do this. I know it's a joke, but we do this for the love of cricket alone. And, we appreciate all the coffees that everyone has bought us and hopefully many more to help Tim not reach his limit. But in joking, Tim's got money. But yeah, we would appreciate your contributions here to help us grow the thing. As I said earlier, we're trying to change the podcast. We're revamping, and all the coffees that have come in have helped us into revamping that. And so yeah, watch the space. We're going to be launching very very soon. But remember, you can also follow us on Full Quarter Pod on X. We were live tweeting from the SA20 auction. I think we missed like a few players. Also, you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, please click the like and subscribe button to know when we go live. Like now on Thursdays, we normally do Mondays and Thursday shows, and so yeah, your support is really, really appreciated, especially when you go and buy some coffee to help this podcast grow. And I think this week is a very important week for the podcast and really excited about it. And, I think in the next month we will unveil and unleash the new podcast or whatever this podcast is going to be. I'm so excited. But the other thing is you can also send us your emails at sacriticpod@gmail.com. Anything and everything, even community stuff that you want us to put forward to the community, any notices, any trials, anything. This is it. And if you want to just say, hey guys, I'm a fan, I like your work, please get new earphones or something like that. Yeah, let us know. We really, really appreciate it. You can do that in the comment section too. Also in the comments on Apple Podcast, on Spotify. Lodrick, I see you there. We appreciate you. Yeah, but anyway, today's show is an interesting show. I was at the SA20 launch on Tuesday. Tim was sadly I don't know if it was raining in Cape Town, but I assume Cape Town is always raining in rainy Cape Town. And we got to, rub shoulders with Proteas past and present. No present because everyone's in England, but Proteas past and trying to see how they were able to build up their squads. There were 6 SA20 teams that were there in the auction. And yeah, lots of money was given to players, and yeah, we're going to be talking about that now. But Tim, your thoughts on the auction and how it was? Because it was long. It was longer than I expected, and I came in I think an hour into everything. But yeah, it was fun. It was like it worked for my nerd brain because it was like, oh no, they need an all-rounder. Oh no, they're denying Lance all-rounders. We're going to talk about all of that, but I really was excited and really happy about how it went down.
Yeah, look. So everyone that I've spoken to that was actually there said it was really good. It was really, really done really well. I think this is a problem though for all auctions. I think they could all be speeded up. If you
Mm.
our first, but this was a lot shorter than our first one. Our first one was
Yeah,
over
yeah.
9 hours, which was was way over. I thought this was a little bit long, but it wasn't a major concern for me.
Mm.
But if you want to make it a little bit tighter, you force those owners to go make a choice, boys, and make a choice. You've had your delegations. You've had your delegations before the auction. You know who you want. Don't spend minutes deliberating on said player. You know
So
whether you want them or not. So,
no, but the
but
thing the thing is, and this is what I like about this type of auction outside of the NFL and NBA style, where you have your line, your number, and you can literally create a board of 1 to 100 players that you think you'd want. You should still do that in this format. The issue you have here is if you don't have that 100-player list to say these are the of the 500 players, these are the 100 players I'd love to have in my team, split them by batter, all-rounder, and and spinner and fast bowler, whatever way you want to stratify them, and you just start crossing people off the list. And I think that's what essentially what was missing for some of the teams. I look at JSK, I look at Paul, where it was a situation where I look at like guys, it seems like you weren't prepared in terms of because then
they were all sitting there with the laptops. I mean, literally, all you have to do is enter and, or highlight
delete.
the guy's name,
Yes.
or delete. There's a both.
But yeah, so I think what was that obviously wasn't shown well on the TV side, right? Because I know they did have their lists and all of that. It's a question then the moment your guys are off and then now you're dealing with new guys, it's a situation. Whereas if I was doing SA20, if I was invited to a team room or whatever it is, I'd ask if I was a coach, 100-player profiles, right? Of the best players in that league, right? And you rank them, right? You give me 15 bowlers, 15 fast bowlers, 15 spinners, give me, 30 batters, left and right, and then I need all the player profiles and rank them based on who you think is best, right? That's how you then go about it. So then when you are at the back end of the tournament, right, you then sit there going, okay, fine, who is on my list that we've all agreed are the guys we want, right? And then you select there so that it concentrates your mind. I kind of feel like some teams got carried away with some names. Like you throw a name out, they're like, "Oh, we like him," but I don't. I don't need it. But yeah, I think we're gonna go through that now with this. What Tim, I'm gonna do is I'm going to go through the teams. I'm going to rank the teams in order of bottom to first, based on how I think they're going to finish this SA20 season. And that's how
Fair
we're going to
enough.
be. Yes, this is my
Yeah.
early prediction, right? Because after we saw on Tuesday, I was like, oh, some teams are just not that great. So, whew. Yeah. So Joburg Super Kings is going to be lost for the next 3 years. The problem is, oh my word, I don't know where to start. Um, you're going to tell me that this is like a hipster's version of T20, Tim. It's guys who can be great for like a month, but aren't consistently great, right? I look at obviously the guys that are already signed. Fafard is already signed. Richard Gleeson, Akil are saying, I like those guys. Donovan Ferreira, yes. But then you said you wanted them to bulk up their batting and make it younger, right? Obviously, they got James Winter as well, right? And then they went Neil Timmers, who's a 19-year-old. I think he's going to be quite intriguing, but I don't think he's going to win you any games. Steve Stolk also is a future Devil Brevis, but again, we saw glimpses of him. I liked the Dion Forrester pick here for this team. But then they went and spent 9 million on Vian Mulder. And it must be said they actually saved all the money to try and get Devil Brevis. It didn't work. Pretoria had more money. And as we said in the previous show, Pretoria were going to try and get Devil, right? But spending 9 million on Vian Mulder made this thing so lopsided that it was really tough. Then they went on to spend 6 million on Andre Berger, which I think is great. I think is important, right? And you need a fast bowler. But I look at this team and I go, the batting is going to be the same issue as the last few seasons. Who am I going to be looking to? Then they went on at the end, and then they got Rivaldo Munsami and Brandon King. I think Brandon King is a sneaky good player. I think if Brandon King plays is the best batter runs wise in this tournament, this team has a chance of not finishing last. But I look at this, I'm not convinced on Topley, I'm not convinced on Gleeson, I'm not convinced on Yanku Smith when Ugusetele was staring you in the face. I'm also not convinced on Dan Worrell. Also, I don't know who Shubman Ranjani is, but he's an all-rounder. But yeah, I'm just not convinced. It's a hipsters thing. Oh, and then they went and got Imran here. Where do you stand on this? Are they finishing last?
It is possible. It is a problematic squad for the reasons that you outlined. Um, they're not the only team, but they are a consequence of missing out on their targets. That's just a fact. They missed out on every single target that they had outside of maybe Fian. They wanted Fian.
I think
Everybody
they panicked
else,
on Vian.
yeah, they panicked in terms of the fee, but not in terms of getting in. Everybody else, I tend to agree. I do think though, if Dion converts it, if Dion converts the talent in this short competition, in this short format, if he reaches the heights or anywhere near the heights that I think that he will do, that's going to be huge for you. If Donovan does what he did last night, Donovan will be a magnificent success. If he does what he did for the Proteas last night on a consistent basis. Nandre, to say goodbye. I don't know exactly when they bought people. Like, Emmy is fine. I don't have a problem with Emmy. Emmy gets wickets. Emmy will get wickets. It's absolutely fine. People will laugh at the age, but the boy gets wickets. The boy is a T20 specialist. He'll get wickets.
Boy,
I'm not worried about it.
Man.
Riley and Worrell. Worrell is a good bowler. T20 format, I think he's going to get done. I think he's going to get taken to town. And when was the last time I saw Riley make runs? I mean, Riley's a fantastic cricketer, but it's been some time since I've seen him make any sort of significant runs. So,
look,
if he does well,
look,
I'd be very surprised.
Look, the good thing is they went younger, right? Neil Timmers is exciting. He's young. Steve Stoke, exciting, very young. But we're the game breakers in this team. Faf is a game breaker. Nandre is a game breaker. Donovan's a game breaker. Outside of that, nobody else. Vian is a good all rounder. He's no Mr. X factor in this format, right? And so when I look at it, I'm sitting there thinking, if you got Vian if you stopped at 5 and let someone else take it, you'd have found yourself a better all rounder at a nice price point and possibly 2 quality batters that you could have got. Like, for instance, I watched Carl Verena. Carl Verena fits into the squad. You give him a role, you give him the gloves, and you make him one of the guys. Now you're like, okay, I'm adding somebody there. But yeah, so I kind of felt like they missed out because they panicked after losing Bevis and they said, oh, we've got all this money. Who are we going to give it to? And then they found themselves in a basement fight with Pretoria Capitals trying to get Vian. And yeah, it just because some part of this is also strategy, right? Sometimes you'll just go there and you're like, these guys are desperate, right? They're very desperate. How far are they to be desperate for this guy? But yeah, so the other thing is value. When you look at these auctions, the value is a big thing, right? Because now you overpaid for someone who is not going to be a game breaker for you. Look, Vian can surprise me. He can all of a sudden arrive and hit 6s and 4s in Joburg, and we'll all be like, oh snap, we didn't see this Mr. 9 million. But he can't be the 3rd highest paid player in this tournament from the auction, because we know some wildcards got paid more. And then he's not going to win you a game. So that for me is that. He's a fine cricketer, he's a great cricketer, he's a great 2, he's not a great 1. And yeah, that's it for me. Okay. Next team. They may have gotten Mr. 16 million in Devil Brevis. They may have Wool Jacks. But I look at this team, and again, them and Joburg Super Kings was just trying to find batting anywhere. And they also went, let's give youngsters a chance. Mikael Prince, Bryce Parsons, Connor Esterhuizen, they spent quite a lot of money for. I was surprised by it, but I think he's a fine cricketer. They even went to Liba, Spanelo Makanya. But then what I liked about this team was the under 18s. They got Banda Majola as a youngster, Mikhail Prince as well. And so I look at the squad and I'm not mad at the bowling. I think the batting is going to be so heavily reliant on Deerveld to come right. But the good thing here, Tim, is Pretoria, whenever the Pretoria Capitals play at Centurion, it's going to be a packed house. Deerveld is going to be a show. He's going to bring in a lot of money.
Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. I think what we're going to see from Pretoria is going to be very exciting. Look, in all of the iterations of the SA20, I think we've had no. This is not going to be the fourth. I think 3 of the 4 squads they've had have been top tier squads, and they haven't gelled as a team. They haven't. You've still got to gel to it as a team to win a tournament to some extent. You can't rely on 1 or 2 guys to come through on a consistent basis, even in these formats. But you're right, they're going to sell out with the Brevis. Brevis man is going to sell out, definitely. Connor stays and does well. Connor stays and plays, he does well. I'm a bit surprised at what he does. I'm a bit surprised at how much teams are willing to spend on him. But look, he does the business. Price Parsons, I'm looking forward to seeing him. What I'm worried about is the over-reliance on English guys. Craig Overton, overrated for me. Will Smeed, overrated. Will Jacks has his moments. Will Jacks is sort of English version of Glenn Maxwell, but like a B version. You know, he can bowl off spin, hits the ball hard. But I don't see enough of him doing it on a consistent basis. Keshav is a huge one. Keshav can mold this team. And of course, because of what's happened recently, which is a great shame for the Proteas, if Lungi is injured for any time of this tournament, then they're in trouble. They're in big, big trouble. If, however, he's fit, that's a huge asset. They can have Lungi and Keshav together. Would be absolutely huge. But I do worry, with Lungi's recent injury history, I do wonder, is he going to be able to be fit for the entire tournament? I hope so, for his point. But as a Cape Townian, I hope not.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but look, but if Lungi's injured, I think it'll be awesome to see Cody Yusuf and Lazard Williams in this team because I think they were very sneaky good buys. I really enjoyed what they did. I just felt that they ran out of batters at nice price points. They just ran out of money very quickly. They ended up with like 175,000 left, and they were, looking for guys at 200K. And a lot of the quality batters started at 500K upwards, and so yeah, I wasn't like I kind of felt for them, but like yeah, they once you let Brevis out the door, you got Keshav in. It was really tough for them to then rein it in and try to find quality batters. But yeah, it's funny because I think they got the bowling right. They got Lungi, they got Cody, they got Kesh and what's his thing and Cody, Kesh and Lazard, and Craig Overton is decent, right? So from a bowling perspective, that could keep them in the tournament. They just need Brevis to be player of the tournament every night. Which, yeah, is that fair to put on him? Yes, we're paying him 16 million. He's getting 16 million for 3 years. That's 48 million up until the next cycle. So that's a very nice little check for them. Okay, next one. They gave us Sukumar Sangakkara. We were all excited with the nice glasses and everything else. Um, I thought this was also kind of like a hipsters version, but they went for guys they knew. Um, could play in their conditions, right? I love the Gudakesh Moti one. I think he's a very good leg spinner. Also like the fact that you know, they struggle to get like the fact that they got Cal Verena, right? They struggle to get batters at the top, like quality batters at the top. But I love the fact that they got Delano in there to partner with David Miller. Maybe that's the start of Delano's run as a Protea. I like the Othniel Bartman one, but not at 4.9 million. I thought it was a little bit too much of an overpay, and you kind of saw that at the back end when they were looking for batters to fill the team. Eshan Malinga comes in there to help them. So too is Vishen Halabaje. That were like okay, nice like picks for our friend there. JJ Basson as a youngster, Keegan Leankeshay as well coming in as a wicketkeeper. At one point they had like four wicketkeepers coming in, and then they took a gamble. They went with Asa Tribe, who Tim, I'm sure you'll tell me a lot more about Asa Tribe, but I'm hearing big things about this guy who's scoring runs everywhere in the UK. So this is another one where David Miller is David Miller, but they've got, Bjorn Fortuin is great. They've got Luandre. This team can compete, and I think they'll make the semis. I just don't think they can go all the way. But I like the squad. I just have an issue with, you know, some spots in the squad just are glaring, like the fast bowling spot.
Because your analysis was Joburg is going to finish last, to be honest, I was a little bit surprised. Look, simply because I just thought that there was an improvement. Just that we've ironed out their weaknesses, but there was a massive improvement in terms of age profile. So that was a very clear avenue that Joburg wanted to go towards. These boys missed out on everybody. Talking about Joburg missed out on everybody. These boys missed out on every single target that they were going for. And it was so sad to see because the crowds are going to come to Par. Those crowds are going to be loud. Those crowds are going to be behind them. Those crowds are going to be 100% packed out all the home games. But away from home, this team are going to struggle, boy. This team, Oatmeal, Bartman, and Hardus in Pretoria and Joburg. These boys are going to struggle. Absolutely
Tim,
struggle.
and Tim, the
Away
thing
from home.
I don't get is what does Hardest give you that Ogushekele doesn't give you? Like, make it make sense to me.
It's tell you what, hardest has done it. Okukulekele hasn't. Like absolutely, of those people that were there in season 3, he should have made a squad. Absolutely should have made a squad. I'm simply putting across the owner's viewpoint. Hardest will give
Oh,
you hard pace, bounces, versatility because he's played this format. Also, hitting ability. I
look, with
like that. I really do think Neller's ceiling is high. This format is not his format, but he should still make a squad.
you
He
should
should
still make a
absolutely
squad.
still make a squad.
If you believe that pace is pace, then you should make the squad. And
But
the problem I'm having is, yes, they're gonna play 5 games at home, and they're gonna play a game in Durban, and potentially a game in the Eastern Cape. So you've got to kind of have fast bowlers for the 3 games that are outside of those flatter pitches, maybe things. So it's effectively you need fast bowlers for Joburg and Pretoria, and that's 2 games out of 10. Because
yeah,
Newlands is flattish. You can say St George's is not as flat as Newlands or all the bouncy of all the coastal pitches, and obviously Durban. So that's the reason why I put them fourth. I thought, yeah, their bowlers kind of fit their conditions. I just would have loved a little bit of express pace to go about it. I think the fact that they didn't get Gwena back also is a bit of an issue. But again, like there were lots of Jaden Seals was there available. There were other fast bowlers that were available. Shamar Joseph was available. I know they both were at a million, but you could have made room for the guys.
so Just to add a point, I'm glad you brought that up. Just to add that point, there are a lot of players in this auction that have very bad advisors. Whoever they are, they have very, very, very bad advisors because they've told them you're worth $1 million. Put yourself into the $1 million at the auction. You're gonna get sold because everybody loves you. They come to the auction. The owners go, hang on, you want $1 million? Not happening, boy. Not happening. There were plenty of people that were $1 million and more that were not sold. What did Carl Verena do? What did Carl do? Carl put him at 200k.
Mm-hmm.
Carl went, I want 200k. He went for 2.3 million. Those, particularly those fast bowlers, if they'd put themselves, even if put themselves at 500,000, I guarantee a Jaden Seals or somebody like the Oshama would have been picked up by somebody. But when you put yourself up at such a high fee, the owners are not going to go and put all their money on you. They might do if they're in a fight with a team, but they're not going to go, yeah, let's start there. It's a really, really poor advice.
Yeah,
A lot of
and
these
a lot of the international batters from the UK also had this issue. Like
yeah.
the price point issue was a big one. Okay, let's move on to the team that I think will finish third, but yeah, could potentially cause problems. Um, I like this team a lot. You can't go past Butler, Klaassen, and Markram. They got Aiden Markram for 14 million. And then they went and got quality, like good batters. Devon Conway, who can do a job for you. They got Ethan Bosch as an all rounder. They got one of the pick of the younger all rounders because the stocks in Ethan Bosch are high. They went and got Evan Jones as well. You look at Gwena. They also put money down for Gwena as one of their options alongside Joel Kutsia. They also got Darren Dupavalon at the back end, which I thought was a nice buy for them. Durban boy can do the stuff, can do the job. Tony DeZorzi also is going to get a lot of game time there. I look at this batting lineup and I'm like, yes. I look at the bowling lineup and I'm like, this is going to be very, very tricky. Bowling lineup to kind of thinking, and it was tight between them and the team that I think will finish in second in terms of this. I like their draft. They worked this draft really, really well, and everywhere I look, I see quality, but you can't obviously look past Markram, Butler, and Klaassen, and they got their guy in Aiden Markram, and they've now brought in Narayan or Ahmed. They even went and got Taijul Islam. So from this point in time, they are going to cause teams problems at home. Away from home, it's going to be up to Gwen and Joel Kutia, but at home they are just going to be a wall. And Marcus Ackerman, congratulations on him getting staying at home, and then obviously David Bedingham as well. So I'm happy. I love this team's batting a lot. The bowling outside of where it is not going to be a big issue, but in playoff time, yeah, it's going to be quite interesting with the other three
I
teams.
I agree. It's a nice squad. That there are concerns for me, but I think they're going to be covered. So I think we touched on it on the pre-chat that I think I'm right that Sunil Narayan is going to ILT20. So what they did is they got touch on Islam. That's huge. Assuming he is available, as far as I'm aware he is, throughout the tournament, that's going to be huge. So Narayan goes to the ILT20 when he does. Tygel just fits in there. So Tygel's obviously not going to contribute with the bat, but in terms of the spinning expertise, fits right in. Glad somebody like Smolani's got this gig. I think there's a real talent there. I want to see runs from this boy. I hope he gets opportunities. I want to see runs from this boy.
Mm.
I know what he can do with the ball. I want to see runs. That's what I want to be looking out for. I just hope he gets enough games.
Look, and this is a team where they got their players early, right? If you're a 200,000 rand player, you came in early. The Devon Conway one was an easy one. He came in 200K. Nobody wanted him. They didn't want to do a right to match. David Bettingham, same thing. They didn't wait for express rounds. They did their business early. They knew they didn't have a lot of money, and it worked. It worked out very well for them. And I'm glad that we don't get a team that has just all rounders everywhere, right? Paul ended up with wicket keepers. This team, like we're sitting at the back end when they picked Evan Jones, like, oh yeah, no, they gave Lance another all rounder. And so yeah, you got to give Lance some all rounders. He probably was on his phone on some guys, help me out here. But yeah, I like the Evan Jones. I thought they really did well. The Ethan Bosch one, I think he went for 6 million. That one was key. Very key. Kind of solidifies them as their number seven, and then you can work around that. That top six is power packed. If Josh can play the entire of the SA20, they're in with a chance. I don't think Josh is going to play the whole of the of SA20, but we shall see.
Indeed, we shall
Okay,
see.
Tim. We've got two teams left. The teams I think are going to get back to the final again. Sunrisers and in my Cape Town. This time, I think Sunrisers are going to finish second. Um, Oh, Matthew Britsky was a big one for them straight out the gate. They did really well. They also got Quinton de Kock for cheap with about one under 2 million rand. They took a gamble. They're taking a gamble on Anrich Nokia and his fitness, but they've got a guy like Luto Supamla as well as Bear Swanepoel to kind of cover there. Obviously, Marco Jansen is there, but yeah, I liked it. I like it. It feels very Eastern KP. Jordan Hanman as well. They got him. They got the King brothers back in there. They didn't get Sen because Sen was wanted by them as well. Not Sen, Kesh, and they went with Sen, which I thought was really awesome. And yeah, we found out that Stubbs will be captain. And then there was a point in the first express round where it was just English player, English player, English player. It was James Coles, who I don't know, but they say he's great. Lewis Gregory, I've seen before, but they claim he's great. And Chris Wood, who I think obviously the coach has something to do with all those English players, but all 1 million each, they all got through. And yeah, the Sunrisers look like the Sunrisers again. The only problem is they just missed out on Aiden.
Yeah, that's obviously a huge loss for them. Um, but I do, as you say, I think they've bought really well, and I think they've bought guys that know as you said, they know the area. The Eastern Cape boys, there's a lot of Eastern Cape boys there. So it's going back home. I'm looking forward to seeing Sapabla. This will be very important for his progression. Uh, another chance for Bears to just to put his name in there, name in that, because his name's been in that a lot without getting high honors. So interested to see what he does there. I think Adam Minnell is going to be an exceptional buy. I think in this format, slow balls, Yorkers, his variety is a T20 bowler. He's very effective. Very effective. So I think he will actually enjoy playing over there. Very interested to see how he gets on. But it's a nice squad. They cover all their bases. They've obviously lost the star of Aiden, but you know what? They've got plenty there. They've got plenty of cover.
Yeah.
Plenty of cover.
No, look, yeah, and then the team obviously is MI Cape Town, and when the reason why I put them there is they were prepared. Like we're joking with Robbie afterwards that he didn't come they didn't come here to get a lot of players. They had sorted themselves out with their pre-buys and all of that stuff and their wild cards and everything else. And they just came to supplement, and supplement they did. Some were obviously some are homer picks, some are friendly picks, like the Dane Pete one. That one was never going to go away. But I look at this team, just power packed. I love the fact that they went back to Rassie and Riza, tried and tested in the South African market. They got Shamsi for 500K, which is awesome. Then they went for Jacques Snyman, who can be explosive at the top, and you kind of need him to kind of step up in this format. The only thing I'd be mad at them is that they didn't get Delano, but they got Dwayne. Out of the two, I'd rather pick Delano, but that was the other one. Then they went for cover, right? Tian van Vieren, Tristan Lees, which I really like. I don't know, Tim. You can tell Dan Lateghan is on everyone's lips. You can let us know what do you think of him, and if he's going to do. But then this Tom Moore's one, I thought it was a very sneaky good one. I thought that was a nice little sneaky pickup in the middle of the draft that nobody necessarily was expecting. What do you think of the squad? Because I look at the squad and I'm like, yep, they have it. They can do it.
Yeah, what we said to you is spot on. That got the marquee guys out the way. It was just fine tuning. It did a lot of fine tuning and a lot of cover. Jason Smith, Dwayne Pretorius, all those guys that they got are cover. They're cover and they're going to be huge assets when they do play. And they bought well. Let's put it out there. They bought well. Corbin Bosch I know he wasn't bought in this auction, but he's in a real
Mm,
good touch. Just to touch on the English guys, Tom Moores is just a better, but a seasoned professional. Nothing flashy about him. Just a
mm,
good, solid cricketer. Would be good to the environment. Um, Dan Ottercott is a sad one for me. Real sad one because
mm,
he's basically English now, but he's South African born, went to Weinberg till he was 16,
mm.
and then went over to the UK, and he's now got a professional contract with Worcestershire. Left-hand batsman, tall, imposing. He comes to the crease and he wants to impose himself on you. At this point, I think he's 20. I think I've got that right. 19 to 20. At this point, he has not played a professional T20 game. So when he plays a game at this, it will be his T20 debut. But the boy's got it. The boy, what I've seen so far, which is only a handful of games, he's got the sort of game that you need to be a T20 cricketer. He looks to score runs, looks to score quickly, likes to drive, tall, as I said, posing, very exciting. I just don't know how many games he's going to get in such a stacked squad. But he's a good player, one for the future for England, unfortunately.
Okay, so we were making English players, England stocks, we were helping England, yeah, in the SA20. Okay. No, but yeah, so that was, yeah, ugh, man. But yeah, he was the buzz actually. People were like, who is he? And then obviously everyone's looking on social media, and a lot of some of the guys who, also are on social media, cricket media, were showing some of his games. I think there was an interview of him. So yeah, look, we shall see this dad Natakhan and see how well he
But
does. Okay.
just to add,
Yes.
just to add very quickly, the most thing I'm looking forward to if he does play is for the commentators to pronounce his name correctly, because the English guys do not.
What
They
do they call
they
it?
pronounce terribly, terribly. So
Late
they
Gan.
pronounce it. Exactly. They pronounce it Vatican with a T.
Latigan. Oh, Dan
Vatican.
Latigan. Okay, no, look, it's not too far. Okay, now there's players who weren't picked. All right, and we're gonna just go through some of the players who weren't picked and just yeah, just give you a list of some of the guys who weren't picked. Daniel Smith, as he came up, Tim, I was like thinking about you, and I was like, kid's not gonna get a game this time. Carl Simmons
No.
was an interesting one. Carl Simmons was an interesting one, but like if yeah, look, Ngaba Yomzi Peter was struggling to get onto a side, so like I think Carl Simmons wasn't gonna
Also,
get through as well.
Carl Simmons is just coming back from a massive injury, so he
Mm,
wasn't likely to be picked.
yeah. Björn Hendricks was brought back by one of the teams. I'm assuming it. I don't know why, but yeah, he would have. Yeah, it was really really hard. Former South African international, still can do it in T20s actually. So that was really disappointing, and also a leader in the dressing room. Tsepo Moreki as well. Matthew Burst. Matthew Burst one. I thought he would go to somebody, but nobody bit. Thomas Caber's moment in the sun as the only Division Two player is now over. Um, I was surprised that John Smart and Ogutle Cele weren't picked. So too Andile Petluwayo. I would have thought, even though their stocks are a little bit lower, that they would have found a team on the back end, right? Especially for like a guy like a John Smart who can do everything, right? Simon Harmer, Junior Dala, Caleb Silika. I thought, yeah, Mikael Pretorius, Keith Dudgeon, Wayne Parnell, Colin Ingram. towards the back end, Wayne Panel and Colin Ingram are not worried about, nor Keith Dudgeon, nor Michael Pretorius. But Seleka, I was really, really surprised. I thought he would get a game, but he hasn't necessarily shot the lights out in CSAT 20. Simon Harmer is always a nice little pick for any guys whose coaches are from the UK, but he never got a look into him. Like, yeah, like this is like down bad for Tim's favorites. Like, what's going on here?
No, but to put it on a serious note, if you're looking for versatility, I'm very surprised that John and Andile weren't at least, there wasn't a sort of a discussion, for the simple point that you point out, versatility. John spots can get you boundaries, get you wickets. Pet McGuire is very good slow balls, very good bowler in this particular format. Can hit the ball from time to time. Not as consistent as you would like, but still, those two, I'm surprised. I'm surprised for all the people that were picked. I am surprised. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I think, look, it's not over. Um,
No,
what this
no.
is obviously you could come in towards the back end, injuries happen and everything happen, and maybe it's a price point discussion. So a lot of the guys that I think might come back, I think Junior Dala, Simon Harmer might get back, depending on how injuries work. So too with Andile, Ogushle, John, and a Matthew Burst. I think those are the guys that I'm looking at. And Bjorn Hendricks. Those are guys. Once injuries start happening, they'll be looking towards those guys to get them in. And it's also a price point thing, a starting point thing. I think Naba Peter's issue was that 500k, even though he put the 500k like all the other internationals. But this isn't the case here. You want to start low and get a game. And yeah, congratulations to everyone who got selected, Tim. Any Okay, one last thing before we go. What was your favorite pick and team combination?
I suppose, and I'd have to look at the squads again.
Okay.
I've got the squads there somewhere. This is very bad podcasting, but I will be
That's fine.
with you just now. Okay. I'm happy for Cody. I'm happy for Cody in the Pretoria Capitals. I've been a big fan of him, as I said, repeatedly the last 18 months, and somebody who I've been waiting to come through. And I'm worried about the stacked team, but Tian van Vuren, those two. I want Tian van Vuren and Cody to get enough game time to show their skills. Tian with the left arm, Cody with the versatility at the slow balls.
Yeah, for me it was Lazard Williams. I like that one. I was really happy for him. That was a really, really awesome by Pretoria Capitals. And I can't pick between Matthew Brzeski and Marcus Ackerman. I thought Brzeski getting paid, that was awesome, and going back home to the Eastern Cape. And I like the Marcus Ackerman pick. I was like, he's one of those guys who could have gone unsold. But it was weird because obviously he's playing SAA, scoring runs for SAA, and he's getting rewarded by coming back to Durban, and he's going to be, the foundation stone of that Durban side, right? You got the three X Factor guys, and you got Marcus Ackerman, Bellingham, and Conway to close out the top six. So I was really, really happy about that Marcus Ackerman pick because it's good reward for a guy who is literally knocking on the Proteas door, but just he's up against some heavy hitters there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's been on the fringes a lot. He's been on the fringes around many different squads without actually getting the next extra nod. So if he can get regular game time to show his skills in this format, look, we will be touching on this in a future podcast once the SAA series finishes. But some of the shots he was playing yesterday were very T20-esque. They were very, very interesting, very, very. So he's already warming up.
Cool. No, yeah, no, I get you. Oh well, that brings us to the end of our SA20 recap. These are the squads. Let us know if you think which squads you like and which squads you don't like. Put in the comments, send us an email, do the many things that we've told you. Follow us on X and tell us there, or on the YouTube channel in the comment section, or on Apple Podcasts and Spotify in the comment section too. Yeah, just let us know what you thought. Now we won't be talking SA20 up until the protests come back from India, and then we'll be SA20 in. It's a nice little week. Get your little T20 hit and giggle through, and get it through. And obviously the protests, well done on winning yesterday, even though it was really a hit and giggle. Yeah, but remember, follow us on X, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and if you can and are willing, please do buy some coffee to help us grow this podcast more. And yeah, lastly but not least, let us know on SA Cricket Pod or any news or any things that you'd like about the show, or to let us know. But yeah, from myself and Tim, it's goodbye and lesale. Kakahiso.